Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Well, the house is a mess because this room's getting painted, and so there's not a lot of furniture in here, but whatever there is moved into the center of the room, and there's all paint cans lined up and paint brushes and pieces of trim and molding, and it's all over the place. You can't see it from here, but it's here. So this room is a mess. I can work on it a little bit more today. It's raining out, so I can't work outside because outside is a mess too. The porch is falling off. I have to try and fix the porch. So when the sun's out, I try and take care of the porch. When it's raining, I try to paint this room. The kitchen is sort of functional. There's still a lot to do in there, but it's functional. And there's an acre here, and it's all overgrown. I can't keep up with it. It's been raining. You can't cut the grass when it's raining. So it's all growing up. And Hare Krishna, just chant Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And I'm not the only one. It's just about everybody I know is feeling pretty overwhelmed by the situations in their life. There's one friend, back just went out, they can't even walk. So I'm going to go over later. I brought a little something I'm going to go over. And somebody else, they're trying to build a house and it's going so slowly and it's costing so much more than they wanted. And so it's everything, I'm not the only one where it appears things are out of control. And then, wherever you go, you have to wear a mask, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So good luck. Friend coming over tomorrow to make cookies. Good luck if they can find the stove. If they can find the stove, they can make cookies here, no problem. Hey, madam, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, I was just saying how life is totally out of control here. Every room's a mess. The porch is falling off. The yard's all grown up. Just chant Hare Krishna. It's a chant. It'll get taken care of. Someday. Eventually, it'll get taken care of. It does. It'll get taken care of. It does. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Everywhere I go around here, everything's saying, take care of this, take care of that, fix this, fix that. And I'm like, okay, I will. Just be patient. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Forget cleaning. There's no way to clean in this situation. There's paint cans. You can't see them. But there's paint cans everywhere and pieces of sandpaper and trim and molding and paint brushes and everything's everywhere. You can't clean in this situation. It's like living in a construction zone. Or it looks more like a bomb dropped, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. 12 times. It's 12 o'clock here. Cuckoo. Cuckoo. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. 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 Thank you. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I was just thinking about Srila Vyasadeva composing the Mahabharata and writing it in such a way that the truths, the transcendental truths and instructions for spiritual life are all interwoven in like a story, like it's not just speaking philosophy. You can see how it plays out in the different personalities' lives. And I was thinking about Draupadi, and specifically when the Kurus took her into the assembly of soldiers and military and government, and they wanted to disrobe her because they had won a gambling match with Yudhisthira and the Pandavas. They didn't really, they cheated, but that's the way they were. And at first, she tried to protect herself because that's really a horrible situation for a saintly lady like this. I mean, she was a queen, and they wanted to see her naked. I mean, oh, come on, Hare Krishna. I mean, that's really, it's pretty low, Oh, God, so low. Krishna. So what could she do? Her husbands were there. They were helpless in the situation. They couldn't do anything. And so she was trying to hold on. But then she couldn't. The big, strong men, they were going to take her clothes off. Big, strong men. And so she just called out for Krishna. He's Krishna, Actually, that's the main reason the Battle of Kurukshetra was fought. The real reason is Krishna wanted to kill them all anyway, but this was, if you wanted to find something tangible to pinpoint and say that's why the war was fought, that was kind of like what Krishna used to pivot on that, to get the war fought, and to get them all killed, was because of that insult to Draupadi. That's what Krishna used as leverage to push that war forward. And she just surrendered, She literally let go and called out for God. And he supplied unlimited cloth. They were pulling the cloth. They were pulling, so much pulling, they got tired, big strong men. And there was this huge mountain of cloth. They could not disrobe her. They could not. Krishna wouldn't let them do it. So you can see the big lesson there is obvious. Let go and let God, right? So Vyasadeva, the whole Mahabharata is like that. There are all these lessons interwoven and instructions and teachings how to surrender to God, Krishna. So that's really, it's really obvious there, isn't it? Let go. Let God. The tendency is to try to control your situation and let go, let God. And God gives you good intelligence too. It's not that you're helpless, can't do anything, but He guides you, Instead of you trying to figure it all out, if you listen, He'll tell you, do this, do that, don't do this, don't. That's what He did on the battlefield with Arjuna. Put your chariot over here and shoot this way. And no, don't do that, go over here and go that. He guided Arjuna through the battle. Because Arjuna let go and he let Krishna. And Krishna was the chariot driver, which means Krishna held the reins. Krishna was driving the horses. Krishna was holding the reins. The reins, if you want to make an analogy, are like the senses. No, the horses are like the senses. The reins are like the mind. You know, the ropes that connect to the horses, and the chariot driver pulls on the reins to direct the horses. The horses are like the senses. It's just a way to understand. And then reins are like the mind. So the intelligence is the driver. So Arjuna let Krishna be his intelligence. Krishna took the reins, directed Arjuna what to do. The whole Mahabharata is like that. It's really fantastic. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Instructing like that with stories, That's what you do with children, right? Children, I mean, they're not particularly necessarily philosophical, children. So you can teach them with stories that have lessons in them. This is the Mahabharata. It's really beautiful. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, so it's time for a Krishna break. Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna. Hey. At first I was feeling a little funny about going out, just, shopping or seeing anybody, looking like this. But actually, going out there, I look more normal than most of them do. I mean, there's people out there with purple hair. There's people out there, with funny little things shaved this way and that way. It's like, it's no big deal, It's like, really, I'm conservative. What's going on out there? Krishna. Hare Krishna. Oh my goodness. All right. Krishna. So this is Akrūra's return journey. And the cowherd boys, they all think Krishna's going to Mathura. They're all going to go with him and have a big party. And they loaded up the bullock carts with yogurt and milk and butter to bring as gifts. And they're all excited, and we're going to go for a big festival. And the gopis are like, oh God, this is the end of the world. Because once Krishna gets to Mathura and he sees the beautiful girls there, young women there, he's going to forget all about us. And they're all like royalty, they're all like opulent, we're just like village girls, Oh my God, forget it. So they're having a real problem with him going. It's no party for them. They just don't think he's coming back, at least not anytime soon. And they're like doing whatever they can to stop him from leaving, but it's not working. So they cried all night. And then when Krishna left, they watched as his chariot went off as far as they could see. Krishna and Balaram on the chariot with Akrūra until it couldn't be seen anymore. And all they could see was a little dust raised from. So they derived some consolation. They were disturbed by the absence of Krishna. They simply thought all day and night about his pastimes, and thus derived some consolation. This is Prabhupada's summary study of the 10th canto, Bhagavatam. The Lord, accompanied by Akrūra and Balaram, drove the chariot with great speed towards the bank of the Yamunā. Krishna's driving the chariot. I guess he's getting ready for Kurukshetra. Simply by taking a bath in the Yamunā, anyone can diminish the reaction of his sinful activities. Both Krishna and Balaram took their baths in the river and washed their faces. After drinking the transparent, crystal clear water of the Yamunā, they took their seats again on the chariot. The chariot was standing underneath the shade of a big tree, and both brothers sat down there. Akrūra then took their permission to also take bath in the Yamunā. According to Vedic ritual, after taking bath in the river, one should stand at least half submerged and murmur the Gayatri mantra. While he was standing in the river, Akrūra suddenly saw both Krishna and Balaram within the water. He was surprised to see them there because he was confident that they were sitting on the chariot. Confused, he immediately came out of the water and went to see where the boys were, and he was very surprised to see that they were sitting on the chariot as before. When he saw them on the chariot, he began to wonder whether he saw them in the water. He therefore went back to the river. This time he saw not only Krishna and Balaram there, but many of the demigods and all of the Siddhas, Charanas, and Gandharvas. They were all standing before the Lord, who was lying down. He also saw the Seshanaga with thousands of hoods. Lord Seshanaga was covered with bluish garments, and his necks were all white. The white necks of Seshanaga appeared exactly like snow-capped mountains. On the curved lap of Seshanaga, Akrūra saw Krishna sitting very soberly with 4 hands. His eyes were like the reddish petals of the lotus flower. In other words, after returning, Akrūra saw Balaram turn into Seshanaga and Krishna turned into Mahavishnu. He saw the 4-handed Supreme Personality of Godhead smiling very beautifully. He was very pleasing to all and was looking towards everyone. He appeared beautiful with his raised nose, broad forehead, spread up ears, and reddish lips. His arms reached to his knees, were very strongly built. His shoulders were high. His chest was very broad and shaped like a conch shell. His navel was very deep, and his abdomen was marked with 3 lines. His waist was broad and big, resembling the hips of a woman, and his thighs resembled the trunks of elephants. The other parts of his legs, the joints and lower extremities, were all very beautiful. The nails of his feet were dazzling, and his toes were as beautiful as the petals of the lotus flower. His helmet was decorated with very valuable jewels. There was a nice belt around the waist, and he wore a sacred thread across his broad chest. Bangles were on his hands and armlets on the upper portion of his arms. He wore bells on his ankles. He possessed dazzling beauty, and his palms were like the lotus flower. He was still more beautiful with different emblems of the Viṣṇumurti, the conch shell, club, disc, and lotus flower, which he held in his 4 hands. His chest was marked with the particular signs of Vishnu, and he wore fresh flower garlands. All in all, he was very beautiful to look at. Akrūra also saw his lordship surrounded by intimate associates like the 4 Kumaras, Shaunaka, Sanatana, Sanandana, Sanatkumar, and other associates like Sunanda and Nanda, as well as demigods like Brahma and Lord Shiva. The 9 great learned sages were there, and devotees like Prahlad and Narada were engaged in offering prayers to the Lord with clean hearts and pure words. After seeing the transcendental personality of Godhead, Akrūra immediately became overwhelmed with great devotion, and all over his body there was transcendental shivering. Although for the moment he was bewildered, he retained his clear consciousness and bowed down his head before the Lord. With folded hands and faltering voice, he began to offer prayers to the Lord. Thus ended the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 38th chapter of Krishna, Akrūra's return journey and his visiting of Viṣṇuloka within the Yamunā River. Chapter 39 is the prayers offered by Akrūra. Akrūra offered his prayers as follows. My dear Lord, I here pay my respectful obeisances unto you, because you are the supreme cause of all causes, and the original, inexhaustible personality, Narayana. From your navel a lotus flower grows, and from that lotus, Brahma, the creator of this universe, is born. Lord Brahma is the cause of this universe. You are the cause of all causes. All the elements of this cosmic manifestation, earth, water, fire, air, ether, ego, and the total material energy, as well as nature, the marginal energy, the living entities, mind, senses, sense objects, and demigods who control the affairs of the cosmos, are all produced from your body. You are the supersoul of everything. No one knows your transcendental form. Everyone within this material world is influenced by the modes of material nature. Demigods like Lord Brahma, being covered by the influence of material nature, do not exactly know your transcendental existence beyond the cosmic manifestation of the three modes of material nature. Great sages and mystics worship you as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the original cause of all living entities, all cosmic manifestation, and all demigods. They worship you as all-inclusive. Some of the learned Brahmanas also worship you by observing the ritualistic ceremony of the Rig Veda. They offer different kinds of sacrifices in the names of different gods, and there are others also who are fond of worshiping transcendental knowledge. They are very peaceful and wish to give up all kinds of material activities. They engage themselves in the philosophical search for you, known as Jnana Yoga. There are devotees also known as Bhagavatas who worship you as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. After being properly initiated in the method of Pancharatra, they decorate their bodies with tilak and engage in worshiping your different forms of Viṣṇumurti. There are others also known as Shivites, followers of the different acharyas who worship you in the form of Lord Shiva. It is stated in the Bhagavad Gita that worship of demigods is also indirectly worship of the Supreme Lord, but such worship is not orthodox, because the worshipful Lord is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana. Demigods such as Brahma and Shiva are incarnations of the material qualities, which are also emanations from the body of Narayana. Actually, there was no one existing before the creation except Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The worship of a demigod is not on the level with worship of Narayana. Akrūra said, although the minds of those who are devotees of the demigods are fixed on a particular demigod, because you are the supersoul of all living entities, including the demigods, worship of demigods indirectly goes to you. Sometimes, after flowing down from the mountains during the rainy season, small rivers fail to reach the sea. Some reach the sea, and some do not. Similarly, the worshippers of the demigods may or may not reach you. There's no guarantee. Their success depends on the strength of their worship. According to Vedic principle, when a worshipper worships a particular demigod, he also conducts some ritual for Narayana, Yagneshwara. For it is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita that demigods cannot fulfill the desires of their worshippers without the sanction of Narayana or Krishna. The exact words used in the Bhagavad Gita are Mayaiva Vihitani Tan which means that the demigods can award some benediction only after being authorized by the Supreme Lord. When the demigod worshipper comes to his senses, he can reason as follows. The demigods can offer benediction only after being empowered by the Supreme Lord, so why not worship the Supreme Lord directly? Worshippers of the demigods may come to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but others who take the demigod as all in all cannot reach the ultimate goal. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, unless those that are worshiping different demigods come to that understanding, they can't approach Krishna. They have to be able to see the demigod in relationship to Krishna. If they think the demigod is everything, then they can't come to Krishna. Hare Krishna. It's pretty simple, actually.